How are your CD sales doing this month? Since I spoke about VHS sales yesterday, I felt it might be appropriate to also talk about CDs, another product that I added to my sourcing and FBA inventory last year. While books have been the most profitable for me and they make up the bulk of my inventory, I enjoy diversifying. Books sell all year, but it is especially nice to have CDs and VHS tapes that also sell all year. December was my best month for selling other products aside from books, but it's nice to see that they sell throughout the year. I feel that diversification is an awesome idea to have steady sales during those slower book months. February and March, as far as I've heard from others, and what I've seen briefly in doing FBA, are some of the slower months for selling books. Generally, between February and about June or July, books are a little bit slower. And then from July and definitely August all the way through to January, excluding possibly October, which is a bit of a slower month amongst the rest of the faster months. That part of the year tends to be where a lot of your books will be sold. I sold the bulk of my books in August, November, December, and January of last year, and then the beginning of this year. So during these slow book selling months, even though I've been selling books consistently last month and again this month, it is definitely slower than January, for instance. But during these slower months, it's nice to have diversification. So as your book sales slow down, you can supplement that with other items. And I really enjoy buying CDs, and I really enjoy sourcing for CDs and for VHS tapes. So it's nice to see those sales coming in. As I mentioned in my previous video, I sold 7 VHS tapes so far this month, and I've sold 8 CDs so far this month, and 6 of those came from that bulk CD lot. You may have seen that video I made about a month or so ago. I'm not exactly sure, but fairly recently. I've sold 6 of those from that lot. I spent $120 on those 550 CDs, sent in 68 of them, and the rest of them I got a little bit of money for at a big record store, and the ones they didn't want, I will see what I can do with those. I still have about, I don't know, 100 or so or 80, but I got 20 bucks cash for those other ones and then store credit. But so far I've been paid $63 off of those 6 CDs that I sold from the lot. So you figure I got 62 CDs to go to sell. The profit's looking pretty good, especially if I can make a few more sales, break even, and then everything else is profit. So I think it was a great buy, and I'm looking forward to getting more from that guy, which is what he said he would be doing over every 3 or so months. So I look forward to the next lot. So I wanted to get into some of the CD sales I made this month because I had some good ones. My last 3 CD sales have been good. I just sold one a couple days ago for $14.95. That's good. Got paid about 10 bucks on it. But the 2 before that were even better. I sold a Disney Mania CD for $21.95. Apparently those sell. I found a bunch of those a few months back, and I've sold out on most of them. People love Disney, so that kind of stuff can sell even in CD form. Disney sells in not every category, but in many categories. I got that Disney Mania one for $1.50, so that was a good flip. And I sold a CD called Dance with Peter. It's either Duchin or Dutchin, or there's another pronunciation, I'm not sure, but he plays the piano. It's either classical or something else. And I sold that one, which was in the CD lot, for $39.95. I basically paid under $2 for those CDs. If you break down the $120 amongst the 68 CDs that I sent in, which is not exact, but maybe around $1.50 or so. So that's a great flip. Got paid $31 on that CD. So far I've had $126 in gross sales and been paid about 85 bucks off of those CDs. So it's nice to have that combined with the VHSs. It's a nice little extra income that I wouldn't have if I was sticking strictly to books. I wouldn't have even sourced or looked up those CDs or the bulk buy or the VHSs. CDs and VHSs sell all year long, so don't miss out on those unless you don't like to bother with them. But I enjoy it. Enjoy getting songs and enjoy looking them up and seeing what's out there and what sells, as well as what sells on VHS. It's fascinating stuff. In the midst of this ASIN quantity issue with FBA, where they are rejecting a lot of books and other items, I've been having some good sales over the last few days of books. So it's that kind of thing that makes me want to stay doing FBA, continue to grow it despite there being books rejected. I had a book sell a few days ago for $39.95 that I got for 10 cents at a bag sale. It was a great bag sale. I've sold quite a few books from there for incredible profits. And another book that I sold, I think yesterday, this book titled James Rosenquist, A Retrospective, is a large coffee table book, fairly heavy. And this one went far. It was sent to another country. The person paid a lot for shipping. This was in a lot that I picked up at a yard sale, and they were charging quite a lot for the group of books that I got. It broke down to $6 a book, but most of them were selling for great money, including this one. And this one went for $69.95. So I was paid $53 on it, minus the $6. It was about $47, $46. You know, inbound shipping was probably at least 75 cents or more, because it was a heavy book, but you know, maybe 75 cents. So made about 45 bucks on that, which is awesome. And that's just one of a few that came from that yard sale. Despite all of this rejection madness with FBA, I'm continuing to source, and my next shipment so far of 59 books, 15 have been rejected, so 44 have been accepted. While that's not the best, and I still have about 15 others to go through, hopefully I'll be able to get out 8 or 9 of those 15. I'm still happy that I can still send those books in and other items. So I'm going to keep sourcing, create a pile here of rejections, and submit it to Amazon. Or what I've been hearing from other people is Inventory Lab works really well. Seems to not be rejecting or kicking back items. Although there's a potential that your items could get stranded when they get to the warehouse because Amazon will reject them at the warehouse, but I've heard from some people that that's not happening. So Inventory Lab, which is a listing software amongst other things, has a 30-day free trial. And that's something I'm seriously considering, especially if this continues to drag on. And if it turns out that Amazon is not going to make much of a change to their algorithm, and this is what we're stuck with, then Inventory Lab might be an option. Unless, of course, they start rejecting items through Inventory Lab, then there's really nothing that any of us can do except send them in to Amazon seller support and hope that they accept or give you an exception to those books and other items. So I think that, you know, we should continue sourcing, and there's nothing much we can do about it, and just contact Amazon and keep our fingers crossed and hope that they sort it out, because it seems as if Amazon just does not want a certain amount of FBA offers on even books and VHS tapes and CDs. It's almost as if they're shutting down some of these listings and just not wanting to offer that many to the customer, which is weird considering that they do so well with the Prime memberships and the FBA offers. But, you know, Amazon has their logic. It seems crazy to us as sellers, but they've apparently made some sudden and seemingly illogical decisions in the past related to gating DVDs. Also, frozen products, apparently dolls, I guess, were shut down completely because counterfeit ones were coming from China. This is what I've heard through some Facebook groups. Apparently there were some other things too where they were suddenly, you know, gated some stuff and whatnot. So they're prone to make sudden and rash decisions out of nowhere with no regard for their third-party merchants. So let's not be surprised if this continues and we just have to get better at sourcing, i.e. figure out what they want, what they accept, and just source those items, which, you know, might cut into our profits. But, you know, sending in 44 items is still not bad out of 59 for me, and hopefully get another 8 or 10 in, so 55, it's not too bad. It's what we just have to work with. And my sales are going well, and I got to keep sourcing, got to keep building it up for the upcoming months. All of our fingers crossed, and continue to contact them and find out what's going to happen. As always, despite the madness at Amazon, keep booking.